Alrighty, fourth graders, in my SAB, I'm on page 19. This is lesson 8 of unit 1, and we're talking about using estimation. There should be a very familiar word right there. You can use rounding to estimate a total. So from now on, you'll still see the word round or rounding, but you're going to see a lot more often in fourth grade and fifth grade the word estimate or estimation. So when you see that word, just know that it means to round. And when we estimate, we are coming up with a good guess. We're coming up with an educated guess that isn't going to be the exact answer, but it's going to be reasonable and it's going to make sense. It'll also help us predict what the exact correct answer should be. Okay, so you can use rounding to estimate a total. Then you can adjust your estimated total to find the exact total. The best-selling fruits at Joy's Fruit Shack are peaches and bananas. During 1 month, Joy sold 397 peaches and 412 bananas. About how many peaches and bananas did she sell? Well, if we take 397 and we round that to the nearest hundreds, we would get 400. Now, if we look at 412, if we round that to the nearest hundred, we would get 400 again. So 400 plus 400 equals 800. Now, what they're trying to show us here, and I'm okay if you don't end up using this much, but some of your brains are really going to like this. Remember, we all have different brains. Some people are going to really like this. We can adjust based on our rounding. Here's what I mean by that. The real number here was 397. That's 3 less than 400. So when we come up with our final answer, we're going to need to add that 3 back on. Because, oh no, we're going to have to take away 3 because to get back down to the real thing. Because 400 minus 3 would be 397. And then on this one, the real answer was 412. So we would have to add 12 to our final answer to get the exact answer because 400 plus 12 would be 412. So you write your little notes down there. Now our answer was 800. Let's see if we can do this. It's an exercise in mental math for sure. I like to do the one, whatever the biggest one is first, so I'm going to do 12 first. 800 plus 12 equals 812. I'll just write it over here so I don't forget, 812. Now, 812 minus 3, 811, 810, 809, 809. Ooh, okay, let's find out if it's the exact answer. So let's line up. Oh, you thought I forgot. Lining up, we have to. 397 plus 412. Always put your larger number at the top if you can think of it. We know that the commutative property of addition tells us that we can mix them up, but if you get in the habit of always putting the larger number at the top, it will help you in subtraction. It'll also be good in multiplication, even though, again, the commutative property is relevant there as well. Okay, enough of properties. Let's look at these. 2 plus 7 equals 9. 9 plus 1 equals 10. There's the 0. Regroup the 1. 7, 8. Do we get it? Yes! I love it when math feels a little bit like magic. So we showed how you can estimate, and then what that was called was adjusting your answer. And the exact answer is 809 pieces of fruit. Yeah. Pieces of fruit. Okay. So some of you are going to really enjoy that adjusting step. Some of you, it might not be your thing. That's okay. You do have to estimate though. That is not an option. That we have to know how to do. So on all of these, the first thing you're going to do is round them, find an estimate, and then find the exact answer. You can choose what place you round to. If you round to the greatest place, you're going to get an answer that's kind of far away from the real answer. If you round, to the tens place or the hundreds place on some of these bigger numbers, you're going to get a much closer answer. But there's no real rule about that. As long as you've rounded both numbers, and as long as they end in zeros, that counts as an estimate, okay? As long as you rounded correctly when you did round. So don't worry too much. Don't get obsessed with, well, what place am I supposed to round to? Just choose one that you think makes sense, that you think works well in the problem, okay? For example, let's do number 5 together. 1,297. This is really close to 300 because of that 9 there. I don't really want to round this to 1,000 by rounding to the nearest thousands place. So I'm going to round to the nearest hundreds place. So if I round to the nearest hundreds place, can you see that that would be my answer? Because we'd underline the 2, the 9's the boss, the 9 tells the 2 to go up. So now I have 1,300 plus 802 rounds also to the hundreds place very easily, right? Just to 800. So now I have 1,300 or 1,300 plus 800. And that's going to be a lot easier to add up. So you need to have your estimate there. So let's go ahead and quickly add that. On my scrap paper, I could just do 13 plus 8, right? 8, 9, 10, 11. Carry the 1, 21. And then add how many zeros? 2. Ooh, fancy. Or you can just stack these up and add them the way that you normally would add. That's fine. But here's my estimate, 2,100. But I also have to find the exact answer, 4th graders. So then after you're done with that, you really need to get serious with your lined paper. You've got to line up all of the digits perfectly, stay in their lane, and then you would get an exact answer. Your exact answer can go underneath your estimate. Go ahead and do at least one more of these. It could, because it has 2 parts. You have to estimate and you have to find the exact answer. And then go ahead and do number 7. Number 7 is a word problem about money. And then let's see first of all on number 7. It didn't ask for an estimate. It's guiding you towards it because you're thinking about if you round these numbers, you might be able to figure out if he has enough money. But you can do that with exact answers, it looks like. On this one, though, it's going to be really clear what they want using estimation. Number 8 is an estimate. Why? How do you know? Because it uses the word about. Anytime you see the word about, it means to estimate. Exactly means exactly what it says. You need to have the exact answer, the real answer. Alrighty, looking for easy combinations. Again, for some of your brains, this is going to make a lot of sense. For others, you might not really like it. By vertically, they mean stacking these numbers on top of each other and then making combinations. You can skip this section here if you want. But down here, do at least 2 or 3 of these where you're practicing combining the digits in your head to help you do the math really fast. For example, on number 14, the 5 and the 5 make 10, and the 9 and the 1 make 10. So that would be 20 right off the bat. And I did that without having to go 9 plus 5 is 14, 14 plus 5 is 19, 19 plus 1 is 20. I just quickly came up with some groupings that made sense for me. That is a mental math strategy. It's not something that I'm going to be testing you on, but it certainly is valuable to learn and practice. Alrighty guys, let me know if you have any questions. Thanks, 4th grade.